We'll get you back to your regularly scheduled programming in just a moment. But first, I'm Kyle Montgomery with breaking news coming to our NFL media newsroom. And we just learned that Tim Tebow has indeed been cut by the Philadelphia Eagles just moments ago. This is after having a fairly good preseason. A shock to some as we welcome in our NFL media insider, Ian Rappaport, to tell us more on this. Ian, you and I just got done talking about this a short while ago. It looked like Tim Tebow had a good shot to make this roster after Matt Barkley was traded. How did this news come about? What transpired here recently?
Well, the Eagles have been going back and forth really over the last several days, last night and again this morning, trying to figure out, is Tim Tebow the best player to take up a roster spot? It wasn't just about playing quarterback. It wasn't just about helping on two-point conversions, which is something they really liked for him to do. He did play well enough. He did show some improvement according to the people I've spoken with. But it was a matter, as is the case with so many of these roster moves, is it worth keeping Tim Tebow over an extra linebacker, an extra special teamer, maybe another running back? These are all the questions the Eagles people were weighing this morning until they finally decided that they would release Tim Tebow, which they have just informed him they will do. And now you wonder, is this the last chance for Tim Tebow? Of course, we know he was out of football last year. He has a lucrative TV career waiting for him. Whenever he is finished with football, his TV contract has essentially stalled while he tried to make the NFL. Now you would have to think the Eagles were his last chance, and maybe Tim Tebow goes back to our world.
Yeah, and you kind of lead me to my next question. What is the market for a Tim Tebow out there? Did he do enough in the preseason to garner some interest? I'm not sure that he showed his ability as a passer and his evolution there, but he certainly made some plays on the ground.
He did, and for Tim Tebow, he's never going to be the prototype drop-back passer that so many of the game's stars are going to be. The Eagles knew that going in. What they liked was his versatility, his ability to run, and how difficult he would make things for defensive coordinators. And considering the new change in the two-point conversion, the fact that teams might be more willing to go for two than they had in the past, that's something that intrigued Chip Kelly. Of course, we know he liked the idea of finding some of these guys who have been unsuccessful other places and making them successful in his system. But in the end, it was simply not in the cards for Tim Tebow, and again, likely his last chance in the NFL, but make no mistake, we've certainly not heard the last of him, at least in the TV and media world.
Fair or not, when you hear Tim Tebow's name, you also you hear the word distraction mentioned as well. Do you think that played a role at all? The fact that if he was signed to this team, that there would be a lot of media hoopla and a lot of attention paid to, you know, a third-string quarterback?
Well, from my understanding, the Eagles really did not care about that, and it didn't seem to be that much of a distraction. I mean, think back to this summer and during training camp. How many stories were really about Tim Tebow? It's not like it was when he was with certainly the Broncos or the Jets or even the Patriots. It was constantly a story. It really wasn't like that this year. This probably was the most football-based decision that we've seen. Chip Kelly took a shot at it, tried his best he could to make Tim Tebow into an NFL quarterback, and of course just decided today that it is simply not to be.
Given Sam Bradford's injury history, I assume that it would play in this decision to maybe keep three quarterbacks, just not knowing how healthy he would be in the long term. Are you shocked that didn't seem to play in this decision at all?
Well, the Eagles know what Tim Tebow is, and he is not a starting quarterback in the NFL. He's obviously much more of a gadget player, a versatile player who can do a bunch of different things and maybe contribute in special teams as it relates to the two-point conversion. If they are concerned with Sam Bradford, which at this point they are not, they really have liked the way he has looked on the field. They like how healthy his knee has been, but they would target a more traditional type quarterback if they were going to add a quarterback. Obviously decided Tim Tebow's job is simply not worth the roster spot. They're going to give that to a special team or a running back or a fullback or receiver, really any other position besides third-string quarterback who could maybe add 1 or 2 plays a game.
Tim obviously battling to get back in the league as a backup quarterback. But you got to believe the type of player that he is, the type of heart that he plays with. He believes that he's a starting quarterback in the NFL. Is that going to be a bitter pill for him to swallow, or do you think that he's starting to come to the recognition that this thing may not work out?
Well, that is the big question going forward for Tim Tebow. He has been told now by 4 teams that he is not good enough to be on their roster. We know about the intangibles that he brings. He is obviously a tough player who works incredibly hard, essentially spent all of last year working with Tom House, a respected quarterback guru who works with Tom Brady now, working to improve and try to show that he is an NFL quarterback. Another team has now told him that he is not. And so that is the question facing Tim Tebow. Is he done with football altogether? Does he just simply go back to his television career, which has been waiting for him and one which he appeared to be primed for a successful time at? Or does he still try to be an NFL quarterback? That's really the question long term facing Tim Tebow now, besides just his release.